So I've been talking about this Diverting Hate report and talking about the content creators that are being targeted by this report and their male supremacy score and who they are. I've done the top 7 people. I'm not going to keep going further. I don't really know these bottom 4 people, have never heard of them at all. If you do want me to go back and research some of these people, I can, but today I want to jump into some of the meat of the report. All right, moving on to the report. This is an overview of 3 key evolving trends. Stop simping, how misogynistic influencers humiliate women to discourage sympathy. A disconcerting trend has surfaced within the Manosphere on YouTube, characterized by a series of videos where men proudly proclaim to stop simping. Through public humiliation of women, they demonstrate how not sympathizing with, showing too much attention for, or otherwise being submissive to women can lead to the actual harassment and bullying of women while providing them a false sense of power. This phenomenon is intricately linked to the theory of gynocentrism and fueled by the belief that men often prioritize women at the expense of their own well-being. Simp is sometimes used as a derogatory term to troll men who extend any positive expression or behavior towards women, particularly kindness, in exchange for some action, usually romantic interest. Simping can also be used in lieu of standing, which is to say someone is an extreme fan of something. Gynocentrism originally described a dominant focus on women in theory or practice, has been manipulated by some to be that societal chivalry and white knight behavior prioritizes women over other groups. Men going their own way, or MGTOW, for example, identifies itself as a reaction against the perceived misandry of gynocentrism. This concern over gynocentrism in society pulls a conspiratorial mindset into evaluation of contemporary gender norms, suggesting that there is a grand conspiracy to center women and feminism in our culture at the expense of men and the traditional gender binary. This conspiracy may or may not be, depending on the influencer, dovetail with broader rhetoric around the Great Replacement and in ways in which Jews and other enemies of white people enlist feminism to undermine the white race and Western culture. The content of the Stop Simping trend predominantly comprises videos sourced from various platforms, with the majority from TikTok, depicting instances where men humiliate or reject women, often in response to a perceived entitlement. These videos portray simping and gynocentrism as pervasive societal issues and argue for the devaluation of women, showing them as inferior to men and advocating for their subservience. This dynamic is also meant to inverse the perceived power imbalance that women have over men in dating and romantic contexts, a commonly cited grievance among male supremacists, wherein women are depicted as sex-empowered to reject men's advances. Stop Simping content thus reverses this perceived power dynamic, depicting men as the rejectors instead of the rejected, playing into the fear and pain of rejection, restoring masculinity by humiliating women and giving men power. So after men have this power, what happens? Do they live happily ever after? I don't really see what they are looking for as men. What are they trying to influence? Is this going to get them happy relationships? Especially with the way we talk about this stuff all the time. This is just keeping men miserable and lonely. RedPill, Manosphere, these masculine people, alpha, this is just keeping men upset, lonely, angry at the world. A glimpse into the metrics reveals the troubling growth of channels promoting this trend in just 1 month. Subscriber count surged across 3 channels we examined. Alpha Central Officials rose by 15%, Modern Dating Podcast by 28%, Araco TV by 1%, with a collective 29 videos specific to this trend. Across these channels, they total 1.1 million subscribers in January 2023 alone. Stop Simping in action. The concept of being humbled is intricately linked to that of being humiliated. The provided screenshots illustrate instances where men subject women to humiliation, seeking to enforce perceived hierarchy or assert dominance. So the titles for these: The Best of When Men Stop Simping for Women, number 2. This had 2 million views. Famous Man Refuses to Simp for Famous Women. This had over 25,000 views. Um, this one, Attention Seeking Women Get Humbled by Man. This had 1.2 million views. They're bringing the PP bros into the discussion. All right, so this one, Passport Bros, the disparagement of the modern woman. We've heard that time and time again. And the rise of the TradWives. Aligned with the red pill mindset and adherence to men going their own way, Manosphere content continues to grow around the idea that men should stop dating modern Western women. Exploring the intricacies and rationales behind men's choices to refrain from dating, videos highlight reasons such as the perceived non-traditional behavior of women and the diminishing perceived benefits of marriage in contemporary society. Traditional expectations, such as having a wife solely dedicated to the husband's care, are scrutinized, with proponents arguing that the rise of independent women in Western culture has contributed to a decline in qualities deemed desirable in a life partner. The discussions extend to various facets, including self-respect, the impact of platforms like OF, and how the legal system favors women in cases of divorces. These concerns are an extension of the classic men's rights activist talking points around alimony, divorce, and legal proceedings that allegedly favor women over men, which predates the incel, red pill, and even pickup artist rhetoric that has come to dominate the contemporary manosphere. Passport Bros' quest for the ideal woman. The rejection of Western women coalesces with a growing trend. PP Bros, or the Passport Bros, refers to men actively seeking relationships outside of Western societies, often in Southeast Asia, Eastern Europe, or South America, in pursuit of what they perceive as more traditional partnerships. These bros cite the cost of maintaining a stay-at-home wife in the U.S. as a reason to venture abroad in pursuit of a relationship with a more traditional dynamic. However, there are obvious concerns about the exploitation and power imbalances in these kinds of relationships when citizenship is often used as leverage to attract women from vulnerable backgrounds. The PP Bros worldview also borrows heavily from classic white supremacist tropes about submissive nature of non-Western women, especially East Asian women. In examining the trend's growing popularity on YouTube, notable content creators gained subscribers and produced substantially more content about this topic. In 1 month, all 4 account subscribers increased. All right, so that's Man Reacts 4418, increased by 3%. Well, you can look at these content creators and how they increased if you want to, the specific numbers. These discussions starkly oppose the mindset resistant to women asserting their independence and embracing a contemporary feminist identity. Beyond reflecting regressive views, this trend prompts a sobering inquiry into societal repercussions of fostering such toxic nostalgia for an era when women were confined to restrictive roles. It invites contemplation on the potential harm caused by perpetuating outdated ideals and the implications for relationships in a more progressive and egalitarian society. This is the reason why they can't stand feminists, because feminists understand that we have rights, we have opinions and everything, and we're not as submissive as they think these other women are. But these other women are catching on to what they are doing anyway. The goal of finding a trad wife. The trad wife trend, a portmanteau of traditional wives, has rapidly gained momentum. The trad wife narrative depicts a stylized domestic bliss rooted in American 1950s aesthetics, championing subservience to men as a pathway to personal happiness, fulfillment, and contributing to a healthier national culture. Self-proclaimed trad wife influencers like Esty Williams worship their husbands and home, submerging without reservation into a happy housewife lifestyle and developing a significant presence on social media platforms. The TradWife movement emerged as a response to modern economic challenges by women discontent with the societal pressure to both hold a full-time job and raise children, turning towards a romanticized version of domesticity and explicitly attacking the ideals and values that feminists uphold. The ideas upheld by these women, emphasizing homemaking, child rearing, and patriarchal support for their husbands, has seen mainstream platforming in parallel trends such as passport bros and the rejection of a modern women. TradWives movement has come to dominate the mainstream national gender politics, building on fear-mongering notions of moral decline and deterioration of family values. For TradWives, feminism is the cause for national discord. They argue that the feminist movement has disrupted the natural order of society, leading to moral decline and societal unrest. They see the emphasis on women's empowerment and equality as a deviation from their God given roles and the erosion of traditional family values. Central to their belief is that women find fulfillment in their biblically assigned place within the family unit, and that God has designed women to be homemakers and caregivers. Thus, they assert embracing these roles as not just a personal choice, but a divine mandate, and further, that embracing ideologies that undermine this divine mandate, i.e., feminism, is an affront to God, tradition, and the natural order. This belief system extends to the idea that God will always find a way for women to be at home, relieving them from stress and burned out caused by juggling both a career and a family. However, rather than focusing exclusively on their ideology, much of their content created by TradWives proposes certain aesthetics of romantic domestic life consisting of traditional dresses, home-cooked meals, and homeschooled children. Though wholesome and aesthetic imagery, a particular lifestyle is promoted that encourages women out of the workforce. And women that choose to do this is perfectly fine. What becomes an issue is these women believing that their beliefs is carte blanche for all women and that all women should be following the Bible, despite the fact that many people are not Christian. Now let's talk about this concept of hitting the wall. It says hitting the wall in the pervasive se-actualization of younger and underage women. We've continued to hear this term hitting the wall, so let's talk about it. Hitting the wall has persisted for several years and is rooted in the harmful notion that a woman's value is solely derived from her physical appearance. This troubling narrative centers around women who are judged as too old, divorced, or otherwise considered undateable. Hitting the wall depicts a barrier that individuals, particularly women, are purportedly destined to encounter as they age, leading to demeaning portrayal of being milk-mired. I've never heard of the word milk-mired. That's in a state in which someone appears unappealing due to the natural aging process. This rhetoric also borrows from a wing of grossly misunderstood and often intentionally misconstrued pseudoscience within the domain of evolutionary psychology, which ties fertility, age, and anatomical biological markers of health to culturally informed contemporary standards of beauty and the ability to reproduce healthy offspring. These videos showcase women speaking to their undateability and regret over divorce that are affecting their chances of finding a new partner. Creators provide commentary alongside these videos, often employing derogatory language and reinforcing structures that emphasize youth and women's perceived sexual marketplace as one and the same. When a woman has hit the wall, they argue she has hit her separation date. Furthermore, the content used to create these videos is pulled from ordinary content creators on TikTok and YouTube who may not even be aware they are being publicly humiliated in this way. Analyzing the data and statistics exposes a noteworthy uptick in channels promoting the hitting the wall trend within a single month, specifically across 4 channels. And you guys can finish looking at this paragraph here, the third paragraph here, if you want to look at the specific number count. While the hitting the wall trend clearly perpetuates harmful stereotypes and actively contributes to the egregious objectification and devaluation of women, we are seeing it beyond the confines of YouTube. In incel communities, the notion of hitting the wall is burgeoning as a persistent and menacing ideology within male supremacist spheres. Thereby, they place a higher value on younger women and girls. This freedophilic type mindset can be seen on the sites like incel.is that unabashedly refer to girls as young as 12 as objects of desire. This concept is also used to undermine women's perceived power in sexual or romantic relationship contexts, as these male supremacists ironically imbue women with supreme power or authority over men by determining which men will be validated as masculine and sexually successful and which ones will not. Simultaneously, these male supremacists want to revoke and undermine the power as only temporary and contingent on women who remain sexual desirability. The wall is meant to emphasize that self-actualized, empowered, independent women are actually less desirable than young, naive, virgin girls and women. This mindset is obviously dangerous and is meant to harm women's self esteem. And it seems like this is the only way some of these men can get women, because they have to feel superior to women, I guess, in order to get one. So they keep trying to knock women down 3 to 4 pegs. These topics are obviously all around social media. So jump in here and let me know what you think about it as far as this report goes. So I was sent this post, and this is an example how the red pill rhetoric, these talking points, is seeping into our everyday lives. So this was posted in the X Red Pill subreddit. She says, has anyone here lost a female friend to the red pill ideology? I have a friend who's in her late 40s. Pretty much every conversation we have now, she sprinkles in comments from these red pill YouTubers talking about women being at home and should be just wives and mothers. This is coming from a woman who used to work. She was married 4 times. Her last marriage ended up terribly. He turned out to be a meth addict that hated working. Now she's trying to get with this older man who will take care of her and her daughter into a potentially dangerous situation. I think he's an alcoholic and it's moving very fast. It can be very negative speaking to her, and she's always putting down women or feminists. I lost my mom to QAnon ideology, and now this. It sucks. That really does suck. Any debating points with her, she will listen to, but I will basically be mocked when I mention the content is toxic and meant to drive men and women apart. I know a lot of guys here have been sucked into the red pill content, but how about women? It is wild when women start really embodying what these red pillars, this manosphere, what these talking points are. It's destructive. It's destructive from the inside out. And when you have a daughter, she is going to be teaching her daughter these same very destructive talking points and values, that women don't deserve equality, that feminists are the issue. It's destructive, and it's going to set us back even further. Okay, some of the content. Women get dragged into it. Absolutely. I see tons of women online saying they used to be a working feminist, but they are not stay at home moms who study the Bible daily. And I'm like, that's great, until they make it about how all women are lost and that feminism is a lie. And women need to do their true godly calling and become mothers and wives who cook from scratch every single day. So, yeah, it doesn't take much for anyone to get wrapped into this toxic mindset. Another issue for me is how these red pillars are desperately trying to normalize SA again. So as we continue going backwards, we'll have to have some hope that these women wake up. And that's the thing. You can believe what you want to believe. You can live how you want to live. It's just the blanket belief system that all women are destined to be this, and trying to put all women and girls back into these traditional boxes. And so the OP says, yes, exactly. It's especially hard seeing my friend sucked into it. During her last marriage, she did everything right, and her husband was a complete letdown. So in every sense of the word. But the thing is, they would think that following this list would lead them to heaven of the best relationship and everything, but it's not, because it's not real life. It's not reality. And Sword of Sangalo says, I mean, for me, I'm just trying to avoid anyone who gives off the man must lead kind of vibes. I said on another post yesterday, usually the first thing most guys will ask me on dating apps is, can you cook? So it's basically just about self-worth. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with women choosing to stay home as a wife or mother. It's just the root of that choice is what matters to me. Exactly. Women cook. We cook. I cook all the time. But it's not because that is my only thing to wake up and be a servant. That's not my life. That's not my complete life. That's just a part of my life. To be a wife and a mother, I'm also other things. We can be bigger things than just have the title of wife and mom. Gladys Schwartz said, it's doubly sad when women buy into this because they're just signing up for abuse. 99 Power says, first of all, I'm really sorry for you and your entire social circle descending into madness. That's terrible luck. Secondly, this person sounds mentally unstable, married 4 times, switching her entire personality to appeal to a new man instead of taking care of her only child, wildly irresponsible and unstable. I feel bad for the kid. Exactly. The kid having to witness this is going to be destructive, because this is her example of what a wife and mother should be, and it's chaotic. So, yes, I agree. And I don't know what it is about some of these people being susceptible to these harmful talking points. This is a good comment. A. Shaw says, there is a psychological phenomenon where once you identify with a belief or ideology, the more evidence you are shown that contradicts that belief, the more firmly you dig in your heels and stick to it. It's sort of like a sunk cost fallacy. If anyone knows about this phenomenon, please expound on it, because I've never heard of it until this comment. They continue with, if you want to support your friend and get her out of the belief system, the things you shouldn't do are debate it with her and sound preachy or judgmental. Instead, I would suggest to avoid talking about ideology as opposed to actual life, and probably just avoid the subject. And then the OP says, yeah, you're right. I had to do that with my mom. Whatever she would bring up QAnon, she finally stopped bringing it up. This person says the pathology is actually the same for men and women. Now she's trying to get with this older man who will take care of her. Oh, okay, so she's just quoting that part. She said, this person says, this is the source. She is afraid, most likely of her lack of success in finding a partner. So, some women have started to believe this whole market value situation, and they're just not going to be desired ever. They're used up, they're damaged, they hit the wall. They start believing this rhetoric. That's the reason why this rhetoric is so damaging and toxic. It seeps into women, it seeps into girls, it seeps into the men that are espousing this sentiment. It makes them angry when it pushes normal thinking women away, because they're not attracting the type of women that believe this stuff. They want to attract the women that they have to um, hammer into submission. All right, y'all. I think I have made the point with this as far as an example goes of why they are doing the whole diverting hate campaign, and why we need to shift this line of thinking and rhetoric. But I want to hear what you think. What are your thoughts? Jump in the comments. Let me know. Like, comment, and share.